there has been some furore over a stream clip which has come out and been clipped as a video from Tarek from CLG's stream, where he was playing in a North American Face It Pro League match, a mix of a bunch of pros, and fREAKAZOiD and Simple get into some trash talking backwards and forwards, and a lot of people feel like fREAKAZOiD went too far, or he was a bit two-faced compared to how he normally presents himself, and he was going in on Simple. He was basically picking apart every little thing you could fuck with the guy over. He was talking some shit to him. So I'll actually link a highlight video of it up there if you want to see the video, just so you know the basics of what we're talking about here. And in the description box below, there's a paste bin where someone's actually transcribed all the things that they said to each other. Now, the first thing you have to understand about the shit talking is, and this is a key aspect, is fREAKAZOiD wasn't playing in this match. He wasn't on the team with Simple where they would be talking to each other. He'd come onto Mumble, according to people on Reddit, on Stewie2K's computer on his account on Mumble. So he was even listed as Stewie2K on Mumble. So as a result, this is quite different from normal shit talking. It's one thing if you're playing in the game and the guy's annoying you or he's saying shit to you anyway and you shit talk back. That's actually kind of par for the course. And in my world, especially because this isn't a pro match, it's a fun game, if the other player can't handle some shit talk like that, mute the person or get the fuck out the game. Like, this is Counter-Strike. It's all about pussies. With that said, though, like I said, he wasn't playing in the game. So first of all, he's fucking distracting people who are playing. And he's essentially just fucking with someone who's in the game. Now, I can understand to a degree why fREAKAZOiD might think he wants to talk to Simple. First of all, in the game, Simple was talking himself a little bit. He tried to talk a little bit shit to Silent, although there's reasons for that we'll get into. And in general, when he does talk on the mic, he's generally annoying when he talks like that and criticizes people. And unfortunately, he'll say stuff where, even though he's saying the correct word in English often, his accent and his mic being a little bit lower than everyone else makes it very hard to make out. And I say that as someone where I'm not one of these guys who like listens to a Danish guy and is like, what's he saying? Like, I've had a lot of experience interviewing people and talking to people who had Russian accents, for example, people from Ukraine, and it's quite hard on the mic to pick out some of the words that Simple says. Like, he'll say a word, like, for example, a good example from this video is he kept saying KDR, but the way he said it, because he pronounced the words differently, it was actually quite difficult each time to understand what he was saying, and I now realise what he was in fact saying. So anyway, I can understand why fREAKAZOiD might think he might want to talk some shit. But first of all, part of the reason why Simple was talking shit to Silent, is if you actually look at the transcription, is because first of all, fREAKAZOiD isn't in the game, remember. So when Simple first hears someone saying something, he's trying to make out all these different North American accents, and he's thinking it's Silent who talked shit to him. So he's talking shit back to Silent about Silent dying, etc., etc. Then when he hears someone keep talking, the reason why fREAKAZOiD keeps saying, who is talking to me, Peter? Who is talking to you? He's not saying that as in, like, who the fuck is this? He legitimately doesn't seem to understand who it is. Like, he thinks at first it's Stewie2K. That's why he's saying, like, oh, it's a top 100 player. Like, how are you even on Cloud 9? That's because he thinks it's Stewie talking to him. So then he realizes it's fREAKAZOiD when fREAKAZOiD keeps going eventually. So the thing here is, fREAKAZOiD says that Simple sucks, that he's a beta, keeps going on about how long have you been in teams, trying to imply like he gets kicked off teams for being toxic, or he hasn't been on teams for very long, even though actually, I mean, it's not like fREAKAZOiD's been on fucking Cloud9 forever, so, I mean, don't really understand that basic track talk. Okay, he goes on about, fREAKAZOiD even says, like, I'm going for the soft spot. When he starts asking, like, Simple, like, do you even have any real friends? Like, do you have any friends, man? Which, I mean, come on, mate. The guy's only just moved to North America. Like, he's just trying to integrate himself in his life. Like, probably a touchy subject to bring up, right? I mean, asking if he's got any balls, saying, like, does he just talk online? Is he going to get scared in real life? Like, the implication being, like, not just, I mean, the soft implication is that you won't talk shit like this in real life. The more hard implication, which is definitely carried when someone like fREAKAZOiD says this, is like, if you talk shit like that in real life, maybe you'll get beat up, or you wouldn't dare talk to me like that in real life, because the implication is I would beat you up. So that's a little bit sinister, a little bit murky, okay. So that's my question. What is fREAKAZOiD going to do about it? What if Simple does talk like that in real life? What are you going to do? What if he starts getting real reckless with his mouth? What are you going to do? You're going to slap him? You're going to punch him? You're going to hit him? You're not going to do any of that shit. If you do, by the way, you're very likely going to get fined from your team, banned from events, maybe even kicked out the whole scene, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I'm telling you, it's just the reality of what's going to happen. So that's probably not going to happen, right? So the tough guy act is just an act. It says that Simple's aim sucks dick. Like, really, mate? Really? Does Simple's aim suck dick? He's got some of the best aim in the whole fucking world, mate. Meanwhile, you do not have great aim. You have okay aim, and it's your style of play that makes you allowed to even be a top pro level player, or a player who for a good team. Your aim sucks dick compared to Simple's. Let's get real. Saying Simple needs to get a tan. He comes from Ukraine, mate. I don't know where you come from. I don't know American accents well enough. I mean, you look like, by the way you built and all that, like, just because you do get into having tans and being ripped, like you're from Miami or Florida, like some fucking meathead down there. So, I don't know if you... Mate, and also, by the way, just as a small side point, for people like Freakazoid and people who were on Jersey Shore and people who are, like, kind of, like, a bit trashy, I've never understood why you guys think fake tans on white people, I don't know if you're Italian or what, on white people look good. Actually, I think it wasn't his surname Norwegian or something. I don't know why you think fake tans look good on people like that. It's one thing if you go to the Mediterranean or holiday and you naturally get a tan. That looks different from when it comes from a can, mate. When it looks from a can, you just look like straight trash. So unless you're in the Mr. Universe contest where you have to slick yourself up and put all that brown paint on, I wouldn't bother bragging about having a fucking tan, mate. It doesn't look good. See, here's the thing about this topic before we get into it more. Shit talking is one thing, especially shit talking when you're in the game. But here's the problem. I like shit talking. I think shit talking, I don't necessarily think it's good. I think it's funny. I think it's entertainment if you don't like the other person. I don't think it's like a good thing for humanity or whatever. But I don't think it's a massively negative thing either. I think it's part of the culture. I think it's part of competitive drive as well. So I don't think it's a problem. The problem in this scenario is that Freakazoid is someone who's tried to claim he's all about positive thinking, tried to promote a positive attitude, tried to say he's against bullying, tried to say he's against these sorts of things and shit talking and negativity in the community. He's put up this front and constantly put forward this holier-than-thou view that if he lived up to it, great, he'd be the sick role model. But because he engages in this sort of thing and has in the past done shit talking along these lines, this is why he ends up being someone where he looks like a hypocrite now and he looks a bit foolish. And even though I think it's fine to shit talk to a degree, it's not fine to constantly shit talk and do that and then to pretend that you're the holier than thou God. That leaves a bad taste in people's mouth. So, first and foremost, shit talking itself is fine. And also, when you shit talk, it's also to some degree fine to make fun of things that are real about the person. Like if the person's a nerd or if the person's ugly or whatever. That might seem like, oh, that's low brow, man. You took the low road there. No, it's shit talking. The whole point of shit talking is to fuck with the other person. And usually you're fucking with each other. And so if you're fucking with each other, you're trying to hit on things that will fuck with that guy. But here's the thing. Actually, saying stuff like, do you have friends, are you toxic or whatever, that's not that bad. I mean, it's kind of cruel in terms of the friends thing because, come on, man, this is like an 18-year-old kid who just moved to North America. But with that said, it's one thing to talk shit when it's got some grain of truth in it, because in my opinion, that's how shit talking works. You take someone that has a slight grain of truth, and you either twist it around a bit to fuck with them, like, for example, if they're in a really good team. If they were like Freakazoid, you can fuck with them by going, yeah, but you're the worst player on that team, you get carried. See, you've taken a little grain of truth, you've exaggerated a little bit, but that's how you're going to get to the guy, how you're going to fuck with him. And there's something clever about doing so. It's not really clever or even proper shit talking when you just say stuff that's made up. Like, for example, if you just said to someone, oh, your mom's dead, and she wasn't, like that wouldn't even work on any level, would it? Wouldn't be shit talk. And unless this guy's mega sensitive, it's not going to get to him. So Freakazoid talking shit about Simple's aim and stuff like that, it's like, really, mate? Well, there's not even any grain of truth to that. In fact, the reality is the exact opposite. You make yourself look stupid when you do it. Like, you're just bad at trash talk. You're not very cerebral, not very witty, not very pithy, not quick on your feet, are you? Nah, didn't think so. Also, just as a side topic, since Freakazoid brings up talking shit on aim and talking about being in teams and all these sorts of things and baiting and sucking and whatnot, this brings me up with a topic that came up with the whole Taco guy, where Taco was talking to Simple about, you've never beaten me in a map, and trying to imply like, oh, my accomplishments are better. Can we stop this whole trend, or if you do it, I'm going to wreck you for it, where players who are the worst or among the worst or just role players on their team talk shit to fantastically skilled star players of worse teams. So Taco and Cloud9 and Freakazoid, their teams have accomplished much more than Simple's have. But Simple, for all of CSGO, has been a much better player than those guys have. So as individual players, they can't talk trash on his game in that same way. Talking trash in a team sense doesn't even make sense. Simple has been the star carry of all of his teams. Let me give you an analogy, okay? So Michael Jordan, this is going to be an extreme example. Simple is not Michael Jordan of CSGO, obviously. But Michael Jordan used to be on a team that wasn't that good. People don't know this. In the late 80s, the Bulls actually used to be a team that weren't even winning their conference. They weren't even placing that highly. That's why they didn't have good seeds, and they used to go out in the first or second round in the playoffs. But Michael Jordan was already, if not the best player in the NBA, one of the top 5, top 3 players in the entire NBA. Now imagine a role player for one of the best teams in the league. So the best team of the 80s was the Los Angeles Lakers. Now imagine, let's imagine who should we take for this? Let's take someone like, I mean, it'd have to be someone not amazing, but so we won't pick like Wilt Chamberlain. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Let's have a look. Lakers. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the team here. We're going to find someone who's a good analogy point. Because I've forgotten the name of this guy now, but there's a great example I could give if I could just find this player here. So wait there one sec, because it'll be worth it if I find the exact player, so I can give this analogy point for anyone who knows the NBA. Okay, so let's have a look here. Okay, so the player we're going to pick is a guy who was a role player, and he was a good player. He's a defensive player. Okay, Michael Cooper, that's who I meant. So we're going to go with Michael Cooper, good defensive player for the Lakers, but not even vaguely the star. And he plays with two of the best players in the entire NBA, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson. He has other good players. Great James Worthy was a very strong third player, like hybrid type star role player. Gary, like, this guy we're talking about, James Cooper, Michael Cooper, I don't know why I'm James, I'm making up James Worthy there. Michael Cooper is just a good player. He's a decent player. At his role, he's good. Just like FREAKAZoiD's good at his role in an as an entry fragger. He's not even vaguely as good as Michael Jordan. So imagine Michael Cooper coming to Michael Jordan like, yeah, you know what, man? You ain't done shit versus me. I beat you any time we play. I'm winning championships. Fuck have you won, man? You ain't made it out the second round of playoffs. That's what these guys are really doing, and it tilts the fuck out of me. It's like, mate, you can't compare to that guy. You could maybe go at stuff like, I work in my team better than you work in yours. That's like, that wouldn't be clever shit talking in the sense that, you've taken the grain of truth and you've exaggerated a bit. You've done something to fuck with the guy. Just saying you're better than him is like, people like Taco, people like FREAKAZoid, get on the fucking... Get reality train and get on Simple's level. You're not as good as this guy. This guy's fantastically skilled compared to you. Now then, there's also the issue, and so as a result, acknowledge if you're FREAKAZoid or Taco, you get carried by Cold Zera, Fur before that, FNX. If you're FREAKAZoid, you get carried by Shroud, Simple. You're not the one ploughing these games like Simple is, and that's making your team success so you can compare directly. That's ridiculous, mate. Now, the problem with FREAKAZoid is he's someone who's actually come at me, not just online. He's come at me in person, and I'm not going to go into all the details because I don't like to spill the beans on all the private things people say, and these were private conversations, but he's come at me in person, essentially along the lines of trying to big brother me, trying to tell me that, like, I should be a more positive influence on the community and I'm just negative all the time, and that's like influencing people badly to think that's fine to be negative and to talk shit about people and all this sort of thing, and how clearly just do it for money. Like, this sort of, again, that's the gist of essentially what he's saying. And here's the thing, when he first said it, it was okay. I thought, you know what, he's got something to that. There's a grain of truth in that. He kind of mischaracterized a lot of what I do there and made out like it's all negative. But I thought there's something to think about there. But then he was so aggressive when he continued with this, and so holier than now and big brotherish, that I was sort of like, fuck this. Who is this guy? And so here's the problem. He's someone who tries to present this front that he is this amazing motivational guy. He posted a tweet only a couple of days ago with a quote that said, "Successful people build each other up. They motivate, inspire, and push each other. Unsuccessful people just hate, blame, and complain." Now, obviously, it's a great quote. It's a motivational quote. It's one that you hope cracks people's paradigm a little bit and makes them think about their perspective on life a little bit and shift it and try and be more positive. Oh, great, all great stuff. Problem here is, now I'm going to have to big brother you, FREAKAZoid, and I'm going to big brother the fuck out of you, mate. Because the worst thing about this scenario is, like I say, I expect North American players to talk shit. I don't mind it when they talk shit. Don't mind if they talk shit in the same game. That's all one thing. The big problem is if they then presented this other aspect. So here's the problem with you, FREAKAZoid. You could have the most immense influence on your scene and the young kids in your scene of anyone in that entire North American scene. You already have, to a degree, as in, I've seen the videos or where you're on stream where you're giving advice about like hitting the gym to get your self-confidence up and being confident in yourself as a person and owning whatever you're into and going for it with girls. This is all great stuff for people who are young kids, who are people in the scene as well, who want to not just be nerds and have like self-loathing and guilt about being a fucking nerd and playing games. This is all dynamite stuff. I mean, there's a video, I'll link it up here, where it's a great video where he talks about this person who's getting bullied and how you can fight back and you can stand up for yourself, and about how, don't worry, like bullying's like I think there's a quote, it was like, if you bully, it's a sign of weakness and you're just like talking from your insecurities, or you're insecure about yourself, that's why you bully. But this is all great stuff. This is all really good motivational shit. This is legit. This is all great stuff. Problem is, I think deep down you are a good guy like that. I think there's some aspect of your personality which does connect with that sort of thing and does want to be positive and does be motivational. Also, you look at the team. Look at FREAKAZoid when he joined his team. This was a team that was dejected. They knew they were never going to do anything in Europe. They'd given up. They'd tried everything they could. They'd made Semphis the in-game leader. They had Sean Gers the in-game leader. Hiko had left them. They couldn't get any of the top iBuy Power players. They all wanted to stay in iBuy Power. iBuy Power gets banned. They get Shazam. Shazam goes to shit. There's no one left to get. They take a risk. They get this FREAKAZOiD guy. They get Skadoodle. They managed to land Skadoodle, the big, high-profile free agent. Shroud's game's already gone off at that point in time. Nothing's very, very much all over the place. The team's in complete shit state, but one of the worst in NA, actually. They finished last at ESEA. Then you look at this scenario. FREAKAZOiD joins up. Okay, they didn't do so great in their first tournament, but then they go on this sick run, and part of that is his effect. He's the guy who came in and he gave them some swagger. He gave them some motivation. He lifted the morale up. With his play and his approach to the game, just inside the game, it made people confident. Hey, we've got this guy who's going to run through a brick wall if we need him to. He's going to entry there. He's going to tell us, hey, we can do this, guys, and we can really believe in it. It's not just fake hype. We're all on board with this, and we're all brothers, and we're all going to be an actual team, a unit, and we're going to go out there and we're going to show these European players. And you saw the effect was contagious within the team. And so I also see how we activated Sean Gers as a leader, because Sean Gers is a great tactician, and Sean Gers can call tactics within the game, but people weren't listening. People weren't doing it. People didn't believe in the concept. Sean Gers wasn't forthright enough. In comes FREAKAZOiD. FREAKAZOiD's the emotional leader of that team. He's the locker room leader. And suddenly he's telling people, like, this is our leader. You got to listen to this guy. This is the guy working all the time on the demos and stuff. We're going to do what this guy says, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to lead the way by example. I'm going to do what this guy says, and we're all going to follow my lead, and we're going to win these games. And as a result, he was an enforcer of Sean Gers' stuff as well. So Sean Gers, the tactician, now got activated as a leader by FREAKAZOiD taking some of the leadership roles up. This is all great stuff, and this is part of why Cloud9 was much more successful than they used to be. Problem is, as great as all this effect has been to that degree, he hasn't gone beyond that. He hasn't had the bigger effect he could have on the younger kids and on the other players in his team, making his stick. Because the problem is, some of the negatives are, you saw his team got the swagger, but also in a negative way. Like, they started talking some shit to me. Some of them, very out of character, started being quite hostile to me in outside of the game scenarios in a way that they never had done before, where I'd always had a friendly relationship with them, thought I was even friends with some of these guys. I noticed, unfortunately, he took the whole thing of, like, we're a unit and we're not going to let people, like, talk shit to us, and made it like an us versus them scenario, which is good for bonding groups, but it also provides a negative or hostile effect to the outside world when you do that. So, unfortunately, I think he could have a better effect on his teammates as well, and make them more open to the community and make them cooler guys and make them more role models. Not that you have to be, but you can do that. And also, he could definitely have a better effect on the overall scene. Like, rather than talking shit to Liquid and Elise and those guys and saying about how they talk shit to him and going on him, rather than doing that, he could be getting these guys on board so that they know how to open themselves up and become more confident people. He could do all the same things he's doing on stream for these kids, for all the rest of the community. And North America as a community could be less shit talking and a bit more positive. And if they see a guy like that who's succeeding, like he was in the summer, they see that he's got a good attitude like that. They can see that you don't have to be a shit talker and stand on the little things you've done and use that to bash other people like most people in the North American scene do. The problem is there's negatives there, which is kind of what I'm getting to. First of all, one of the most egregious ones is where out of nowhere you just talk shit on War Owl. Now, if you don't know who War Owl is, he's just a guy who makes videos on YouTube. They're very general. They're for casual people. Like, some of them are like some pro analysis, but it's not super deep. He doesn't follow the game super dope level. He just watches the games. And they're mainly videos about, like, what is this gun about? What are these things? It's like the casual things that people just who are just CSGO players will enjoy. The most harmless shit you could imagine. Nah. FREAKAZOiD's, like, mad in this video, and he's, like, cursing out War Owl, like, in as much as he's saying, like, I mean, I don't think he literally calls him shit or whatever, but he just says some shit along the lines of, like, you know, the only way this guy can make money is to talk about the game and describe all these details of the game because, you know, he ain't going pro, man. Have you seen this guy play? Like, he ain't good enough. Like, is that really necessary? If you're someone who doesn't like negativity and doesn't think it's necessary and doesn't want to spread a negative influence on your fans and people in the community to how they react to others, you've been a complete hypocrite in this scenario. Then there's the fact that you go at me in general on Twitter. Here's the thing. I say I like shit talk. But I only shit talk in general if someone, either I shit talk publicly in as much as I don't include their Twitter name so they don't have to read it, and I don't go right to them, their face, and talk shit to them, because I think that's rude if you don't like the person. But if they shit talk directly to me, then game on. Now we got a little bit of banter. Goes, I don't mind it when FREAKAZOiD talk shit to me. I can go all day with that, mate. That's my world. I'm the final boss there. You can come at me all you want, mate. I mean, obviously you can't handle it. You're going to get salty and butthurt and try and do some shit in real life. So that's your problem, mate. I'm not going to let that happen. In fact, that's the thing. I'm going to give everyone now watching this video, everyone from North America, here's the 101 on how you deal with FREAKAZOiD, okay? First things first, it starts online, right? Keep it online. Don't do anything in real life. He talks to you in real life and he seems like he's in a hostile or a negative or a challenging manner. Don't even address him. Don't talk to him. Just leave him alone. Leave him to that. Leave it all online on Twitter, on stream, on voice chat, on Skype, wherever. Keep it all online, because when it's all online, that's where you can win. Don't let it escalate to real life shit, because, yeah, he's a pretty built guy. I'm sure he could beat up a lot of people. That's not going to help anyone. It's not going to help his career. It's not going to help your career. It's not going to help anyone. Even if you could beat him up, that's not going to help your career if you beat him up. So the only place he can win, you have to understand, is in real life. So by not letting it go to real life, he can never win. Fighting online is not acceptable for anyone, by the way. The Richard scenario loader is a bit different from that, and I still didn't think it was very acceptable to have violence, but I understand the circumstances surrounding that. But that's different also because the person came to them and forced them into a position where they had to make some kind of choice like that. It wasn't like Richard went to him, sought him out, found him, punched him, whatever. No, none of that happened. So fighting online in general has no real place in CSGO. Although I don't think it should be like lifetime bans or whatever for anyone who gets involved. I think we should have a rehabilitation program for that. I mean, there's actually a Brazilian saying that goes along with this, which I want people to keep in mind when they talk about FREAKAZOiD. Because I remember I was looking up idioms in Brazilian, okay? Because I was looking up that bite the bullet thing that manager of Luminosity said. So there's a Brazilian saying that goes like, "Cão de ladra não morde," which means like, dog that barks doesn't bite. Now, that in general is FREAKAZOiD. I don't think this guy actually wants to beat people up in LAN. I think he's actually going to fight in LAN. I think he might confront people in LAN. I think he might try and grandstand and big brother them and try and intimidate them a bit physically because he has the front to be able to do so and he has the attitude and the swagger to be able to do so. But I think he only wants to do that for the effect of them backing down or whatever. I don't think he actually wants to fight these people. I don't think he's a bad guy in that sense. Unfortunately, FREAKAZOiD is just a meathead. He's not a smart guy. No, he's not an idiot. Certainly, he seems like he's reasonably. I think he just seems like average intelligence guy, and he's actually someone who's got a bit of life experience, and maybe he's gone through some things and thought a bit about life. Okay, all great. Maybe he's developed himself a little bit. You can see on his stream and in the environment that he lives in. Yeah, he's not some fucking Harvard guy. He's not some super intellectual guy. Someone's read a lot of philosophy books or whatever. He's not a super smart guy in this sense. Just keep it online. And as a result, I think he gets frustrated. I think he gets frustrated that his team's losing. When his team was winning was when he tried to big brother me and when it was all going great. And that was when he's trying to promote, I'm all about positivity. When he starts losing and his life gets frustrating and there's problems and people are talking shit on him, that's when he then just responds with negativity. That's when he mirrors the same thing or even goes above and beyond the shit talking, etc. So I think it's all just bullshit from him that he's trying to do this in any way. Like, I don't think it's really bullying, but in a way, he's trying to, like, just bully professional video gamers on the basis that they're a bit socially awkward, they're not super confident in real life, they do talk shit online but aren't going to in person, which is a good thing, by the way, that you don't behave in person as the way you do online. Anyone who says that, hey, you wouldn't do that in real life, well, why would you? What kind of mentally deficient, socially crippled person would act the same way in person as they would online in a video game? Are you mental? Are you mad? Don't knife me online, bro. So, yeah, I think it's just kind of bullshit to try and, like, big-time players like that, because you know that they're just nerds. You know that they wouldn't snap like a twig. Okay, great. I mean, get your shit together, FREAKAZOiD. If you really are a tough guy, if you really are someone who's worked out, if you really want to be positive, then use that in a positive way. Don't go around being a dick like this. Now, in terms of FPL has been a train wreck for this sort of shit in NA. And by the way, I knew it would be. Here's why. Because this sort of shit talking isn't because of FPL, and it isn't something new. This was always going on in North America, in 10-mans, in scrims. So why does it happen on stream when people are streaming and people are watching the matches? Because these aren't professional actors. These aren't method actors like Robert De Niro level motherfuckers from the 80s. They're just people. And so even if they want to act professional, etc., if they're playing that many games and people are streaming that many of the games, shit's going to come out. They're going to behave the way they normally do. They're going to do shit talking, which has always been the culture in NA esports. I mean, these people are not good actors. FREAKAZOiD did his best to act on stream and be positive because as a person, he's probably trying to be that way as much as he can. And I'm sure most of the time, he probably is like that when he's not frustrated. But even he cracks and has these moments where he has these outbursts. I mean, for people who don't know anything about fame, I noticed that most people will judge famous people as though they have any clue what that's like. And, oh, well, if I was in his situation and I was getting paid millions of dollars, I'd never behave that way. That's a disgrace. You have no clue, mate. Here's what happens when you get paid millions of dollars. That becomes your new norm. You continue to act with the normal habits and the normal personality that you already had. That's why people who are celebrities wild out and do all crazy shit and say ridiculous stuff, because that's just who they are as people. You don't, the whole time, every time you're about to think something, you don't pull out your phone and check your bank balance and go, there are a lot of zeros there. No, I actually, I respectfully decline your offer. Thank you, sir. I won't talk shit to you. Good day to you, sir. Let me just trick again. Yep. Oh, it's a lot of money. I better not behave like a human or anything. You just behave the way you are as a person, man. And if you get a lot of money, especially like pro players in CS who've only had the money a year or two, you're not going to instantly transform and become this magical person like this Peyton Manning-esque person who always has the right answer and is a great role model for kids. It's not going to happen, mate. And it's not even suited to certain people, and it's not necessary either. So it's not that big a deal that there's so much shit talking. I'm this big brother and FREAKAZoid here because he's tried to present himself in this holier-than-thou bullshit manner. Now, it is the case that there are a lot of nice guys in the North American scene, actually. The overwhelming majority aren't. There's a lot of shit talking there. There's not that many, though, who are that toxic, though. And most of them, they're all right. And there's a bunch that are quite cool guys, actually. Like, most of the CLG guys are pretty chill, actually. Most of those, except JDM. Most of those guys, they're pretty cool guys. They don't even seem to go that hard when they get trash talked or when people say they shit or whatever. They have a good attitude. They just work in the game. They try to get better. A bunch of the Team Liquid guys are like that, especially a lot of the younger guys. They're just guys who put their head down, they do the work, they might do a little bit of friendly trash talking, but it's very, very mild banter, and they're really not trying to fuck with people, and they actually genuinely wish well for others. A bunch of the C9 guys used to be really nice guys. Sean Gares, FREAKAZoid, used to be a really chill guy, used to be a really cool guy, didn't really have a lot of negativity, except when it was jokes, except when it was personal banter. He got a little bit testy once FREAKAZoid joined, and they got that whole us versus them mentality and how they were going to attack the media. Nothing likewise. This is a guy who was chill his whole career. Got a little bit cocky, though, when FREAKAZoid came around, because he had the Enforcer there. He was the little dog in the back with the big dog in front, so he was talking a bit of that shit. It's like that thing where the guys in school where the guy's talking real reckless because you've got the super hard mate behind him who'd beat the fuck out of you. It's like, mate, I'm not scared of you. It's that guy who everyone's worried about. I mean, Shroud and Skadoodle I can't really comment on because motherfuckers don't even talk. So if you don't even talk, I can't just say you're nice. That's actually one thing in general as a life point, by the way. People who just don't talk, don't assume they're nice. If they talk, if you get to know them privately and they turn out to be nice, great. Sometimes people are evil motherfuckers, they just don't speak. So, I'm not saying Shroud and Skadoodle are, obviously, they just don't talk. I don't think this is such a big deal in general. It's just a culture in NA. As a player, I've always had respect for FREAKAZoid in as much as he's got that hard entry style where he commits to it, and if the in-game leader does the right thing and his stars do the right thing, his teams have got a good chance to win the game because of him. He's got a good skill set. I appreciate that he has the balls to go in like that. I mean, he had a game recently versus Gamers 2, G2, on Train at Game Show where his team was getting wrecked, and they should have got wrecked super hard, and he was the only thing keeping him in that motherfucking game the way he was playing. So I think he is a guy who's got balls, who's got confidence in his own game. Just, unfortunately, he presents this front that would be great if it was true, but he's gone too far with it, and he's tried to mask the fact that he has his own negative side. And in general, if he's someone who thinks that negativity is a bad thing, should work on that negative side a little bit. Seems unnecessary. Now, if you want to make money without having to act holier than thou or get ploughed by European M4s when you rush on a corner with no help, it's simple. Just play at Alpha Draft.